I woke up this morning thinking about chicken and dumplings. And I thought about the way my mom would make the chicken and dumplings. She would take a whole chicken and she would wash it and season it up and stew it down in a little bit of water and watch it boil down with a lot of onion and garlic and stem onions. She would make like a broth for the chicken to cook down in. And then when it was cool, she would take it out and pull the meat off the bone and take the skin off and set it aside. And in the bowl, in the broth, she would take some aside and put it in a cup and add it to the flour mixture that she would use to make the dumplings. Now, I learned from a very early age that when you cook and you make dumplings, you want to season them in layers so that when you bite down into that dumpling, you don't have a mouthful of dough, but you can taste the flavors and the seasonings in it. So she would use the broth from the chicken that was already seasoned, and she would use an egg and some cream, heavy cream or milk, and she would mix it up. And then she would use a fork to try to get most of the lumps, but not all of them. And then she would, spread it out onto the table that was floured, and she would knead it and roll it and knead it and roll it, and then slice it in squares and watching the uh, chicken broth cook down on the stove, and then she would add the dumplings. Now the video is sped up, so this process, you've got to take your time because you don't want it to burn, and you want it to come to a slow boil, and you want to add the dumplings one at a time and try not to have them overlap because you don't want them to stick. And then you got to stand there and stir it. Good chicken and dumplings, you can't leave. You got to eyeball it because you want to cook it slow to watch those dumplings puff up. And you don't want them to be chewy. You want them to have a nice, gentle bite in the middle. And I like my dumplings kind of thick, so you can go back the next day if you eat leftovers and you can add a little water or a little cream and it'll make more gravy and it's full of flavors. Chicken and dumplings. It's yummy.